We will call the regular meeting of the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury to order. Today, Thursday, June 6th. We ask that you please silence your cell phones, and if anyone wants to speak to anything on the agenda, please fill out a blue slip and bring them to Miss Jessica at the front table. We will now have the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Quinn.
Well, thank you for this time together for being able to meet for the public and for the good of the public. We thank you so much this day for all the men and women who gave their lives on this day so many years ago in the defense of our country and the fight of evil in this world. We thank you so much for all that you do for us, and we thank you for giving us an opportunity to serve you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please place the flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Quinn. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Mr. Abshire is unable to attend. Mr. Anderpont?
Here.
Mr. Barris?
Here.
Mr. Burley?
Here.
Mr. Clement?
Here.
Ms. Eason?
Here.
Mr. Guillory?
Here.
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Mr. Landry?
Here.
Mr. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Marcantel?
Here.
Mr. Quinn?
Here.
And Mr. Smith and Mr. Stelling were unable to attend. And President Barty?
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Thank you. Item 1 is a public hearing. We'll move down to item 2. Presentation of a certificate to the staff of the Community Center and Playground District Number 2 of Ward 4 for hosting the 2024 LHSAA State Softball and Baseball Championships. Mr. Andrepont.
He's down.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wait for Mr. Clement to come up. You know, many of you have had the opportunity in the past to attend the Louisiana High School Athletic Association state softball and state baseball tournaments. If you haven't, I encourage you in the future to do so. The atmosphere is electric with the fans, and but Sulphur Parks and Recreation does an outstanding job. And I could go on and on, but I'll be brief because I know we've got a lot on the agenda. But when you see individuals show up and they're assigned to park here, and individuals know that they're has to keep score at a certain time, and on with assignments and knowing their job duties and their responsibilities, that's organization and that's planning. And that doesn't happen by accident. But when you look at this event, this is something that I think is a shining star for our parish and certainly for the city of Sulphur, but the countless volunteers. When you see high school baseball players and picking up trash in the evenings, the community comes together, and the jury and staff has supported this event for many years, along with other events as well. But we appreciate that as jurors, and we appreciate it as a community. But the other thing that I want to say before I let my fellow jurors say a few comments, have a few words, not only is this tournament going on, the regular activities that occur with Sulphur Parks and Recreation are still taking place as these tournaments are going on. And that's something to be said, and certainly a tribute to the staff and the board and those employees of Sulphur Parks and Recreation. So, Mr. Barris.
Thank you, Mr. Andrepont. To echo everything Mr. Andrepont said, it's an amazing undertaking. It's kind of old hat by now, you would think, but man, every year there are bigger and bigger challenges. New gremlins are found in the deal, you know. So, but you know, there's a team, and the way that they that they take this tournament and it's seamless. Probably doesn't seem like that to them in real time, but to the unsuspecting Joe public, it looks like a pretty well-oiled machine. And I appreciate everything that y'all do, and your staff, your volunteers, and just for making us look good. So.
Well, I want to just ditto what the two fellow jurors said previously. This has been, I don't know how many years we're working on it. It's been quite a while. And again, Joe hit the nail on the head about a well-oiled machine. The times I've gone, I've noticed the volunteers. You have the same volunteers year after year, and they do an excellent job. And I mean, that's a large commitment that they're undertaking. And it just shows for someone to volunteer means they have interest in it. They have interest in the community, and the staff is doing an excellent job by making sure that we continue to have volunteers that make it such a success. But I wanted to reiterate what they said. I mean, y'all do it's an amazing job. Thank you.
Thank you. So what we have, we'd like to recognize Laurie Colzer and Natalie Bowers. And Mr. President, if you'd come forward. Certificate of Appreciation presented by the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury on this 6th day of June 2024 to the Sulphur Parks and Recreation Community Center and Playground District number 2 of Ward 4 for excellent service in hosting the 2024 Louisiana High School Athletic Association State Softball and Baseball Championships. Congratulations and a job well done.
If I could just say a couple of words. Yeah. No, not speech. No, I'm not good with speeches. Just want to thank you guys for the recognition. But this recognition is for more than just Sulphur Parks. There's a lot of entities involved in this, and it takes a village to create this event that keeps coming back year after year. Softball 2001 was the first year, so that's been for 23 years. Baseball has been since 2014, and the state swim meet is 19 years in. So that speaks volumes, again, to the police jury for always supporting us and always showing up out there with a smile, and we appreciate that. Also, Visit Lake Charles does a great job of promoting the event, and they also provide a lot of announcers that we couldn't pull together sometimes, and they have all the connections, and they do a great job. Sulphur High School, the kids come out, they volunteer, whether it's picking up trash or taking tickets or whatever the case may be. City of Sulphur, and then, of course, SPAR staff and the volunteers, like Mr. Andrepont and Mr. Barris had mentioned. It takes a lot of people to put this on, but we are very proud to host these, and we also have been awarded for the next 2 years for all 3 of those events, and so we're extremely excited about that and hope that that continues. So thank you again for the recognition.
Appreciate you.
To be presentation of a certificate to Dr. Darrell Burkell in the recognition of service as president of, I'm going to say, my McNeese State University. Mr. Hayes. My McNeese. Right. Mr. Hayes.
Thank you, sir.
You guys keep giving me hot mics. I love it. It is my pleasure to once again participate in something honoring McNeese State University. You know, I've never asked you, how many people in this room were students at McNeese? How about that? Almost a full house. That's how important it is to Southwest Louisiana and to each of us who are involved. My pleasure tonight to give you a couple of remarks about the outgoing president at McNeese. He has been president of McNeese for 7 years. I met Darrell when he was a football player at McNeese. And he was famous for saying that the USL Raging Cajuns had no class on TV before the ball game. And he went out and he backed it up. He proved they didn't and they couldn't win by his efforts and the efforts of his teammates. It was a glorious time back in the day. A couple of things you may not know about him. Over a 14-month period between March 2020 and May 2021, Dr. Burkell guided the university through COVID-19 pandemic, back-to-back hurricanes Laura and Delta, a severe winter storm, and a historic 1,000-year flood. The hurricanes caused over $260 million in damages, losses, remediation to the campus. Now, this is in addition to the normal duties that you have as president of the university. You had these other things to deal with as well. Over the past 7 years, capital improvement projects totaling more than $87 million were completed under Dr. Burkell's administration, with funding from the state, private sources, and university capital funds. Currently, $145 million in capital improvement projects are in various stages, planning, design, and construction that will transform the campus into the foreseeable future. His presidency, well, the economic impact of McNeese on the Southwest Louisiana economy increased by more than 65% while he was president. Went from $371.6 million up to $614 million. Dr. Burkell's presidency will be remembered for developing a vision of what McNeese could be, continuously advancing the university, making it adaptable and sustainable for the future, ensuring academic programs have value, and fostering a student-centric culture, and engaging McNeese State University and Southwest Louisiana community. Dr. Burkell, would you come forward, please, sir? Mr. Bartee, please. My pleasure, along with President Bartee, to present this certificate of appreciation to Dr. Darrell V. Burkell, presented by the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury on this, the 6th day of June 2024, to Dr. Darrell Burkell, President, McNeese State University, in honor, recognition, and sincere appreciation for 7 years of dedicated leadership to McNeese and the citizens of Calcasieu Parish. Congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you. I told Ron I wasn't going to say anything, but I have to now. I want to thank Brian and his staff for a wonderful working relationship that we've had with them throughout my tenure. I want to thank this jury for their support of the university, especially showing it with our LNG Center and your commitment to helping us with that. That is going to become a reality. And now with that, we have the National Safety Center for LNG coming here, which is a big deal, is going to make that effort all the more important. So it's been an honor to serve. It's been an honor to serve with you, and thank you very much.
Perfect timing, man. 5:45.
Almost. We gotta go.
1 minute.
Item 3A, Adopt a resolution approving a cooperative endeavor agreement
So
and/or
moved.
grant
Second.
sub-recipient agreements related to the police jury's implementation of FEMA's hazard mitigation grant program. We have a motion by Mr. Barris and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 4A.
Move on
approve the
4A.
minutes of the
Second.
regular meeting of the police jury dated May 2nd, 2024. We have a motion by Mr. Burley and a second by Mr. Anjapon. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 4B.
Move on 4B.
Adopt a resolution ratifying Executive Order Number 2024-04, which lifted the restriction on marine travel on the Calcasieu River. We have a motion by Mr. Markentile and a second by Mr. Gwynn. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Well, it's 5:45. We will have a public meeting. So we'll move to item 1. Hold a public meeting at 5:45, ordering said owners to show cause as to why the structures on said property should not be condemned. 1A, 487 West Telephone Road
Motion
in
to
Moss
condemn.
Bluff. Do we have anyone here to speak on 4A West Telephone Road in Moss Bluff? There's no one?
Motion to condemn.
We have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Quinn and a second by Mr. Burley to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1B, 3158 Mesa Lane, Moss Bluff. Anyone here to speak on 3158 Mesa Lane?
Motion to condemn.
We have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Gwynn and a second by Mr. Landry to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1C, 588 Stellar Drive, Moss Bluff. Staff recommends this item be deferred to the regular meeting on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024.
Motion to defer.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Quinn and a second by Mr. Landry to defer. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1D, 1080 Park Road, Moss Bluff. Anyone here to speak on 1080 Park Road?
Motion to condemn.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Quinn to condemn and remove in 30 days and a second by Mr. Landry. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1E, 845 Cooley Road in Moss Bluff. Is there anyone here to speak on 1E? That's right, I'm holding it too, huh? So ma'am, that's Miss Melinda Cagle.
Yes,
Okay, could you give your name and address for the records, please?
Melinda Pettifield Cagle, 352 Moss Bluff Drive, Lake Charles. All over again.
Yes.
Melinda Pettifield Cagle, 352 Moss Bluff Drive, Lake Charles, 70611.
And Mr. President, before Ms. Cagle starts her presentation, 3 minutes?
Yes. Go ahead.
Oh,
You have 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to ask if it could be, if I could be given additional time. It's air property. We're having an issue with 1/4 of the property. They don't want to sell or sign over ownership. I'm the 3/4, and my siblings will give me their portion, and I would like to just request maybe 60 days to see.
Okay.
I know it's a mess. It just has a lot of sentimental value to me.
What, ma'am, Mr. President,
Yeah, Mr. Quinn.
if given those 60 days, are you going to try to rebuild this property?
I don't know if
I
I
don't
would.
know that it, I mean, I'm no engineer by any means, but do you feel it's structurally sound enough to maintain it, or?
I think the structure is stable enough. I mean, it's been built a long time ago. That was the first storm that really it had any damage in. But I will have it looked at, but mainly I was just maybe wanting to get some of the wood paneling off the wall, you know, just sentimental. My dad floated the cypress down the Calcasieu River and milled all that himself, and just having a hard time letting go.
Mr. Barris.
Thank you. When did they first get notification about this?
I'm gonna have Mr. Robinson.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we usually try to notify them at least 30 days before the meeting.
So 30 days, 30 days ago, Mr. Robinson, she found out, oh, I got a problem, right?
Yeah, and even before that, we send out what we call a courtesy letter. And it just basically tells the people, hey, you got a structure that you either need to demolish or you need to try to come in and try to get the permits to repair it.
So in total, ballpark, how long have they known that they had a problem?
It takes about 3 to probably about 4 months for the condemnation process.
Okay, so we gotta figure out, we have to know about the sentimental value and the floating down the river story. We gotta know all that stuff a lot sooner than tonight.
I had spoke with someone in the planning, and she said I needed to get paperwork from the three that were out of state, and I just haven't been able to get that information. I tried to get a permit to do some repairs, some roof, some whatever, but I couldn't get a permit until they all signed, and they wouldn't sign.
So maybe what you need to tell them, if there's anything to be had from this property, if we have to go in there and do it, it will not be cheap.
Right.
And that is gonna come out of whatever kitty's left over. So it would behoove them
Right.
to comply with you and help you help them.
Right, and I'm working on that. I'm considered on my ride over. Maybe I'll quit my job so that I can do this full-time for a little while.
Don't do that.
Don't do
Well,
But I think, and I'm gonna follow Mr. Quinn's lead, but, you know, maybe we can make sure she gets with staff and, you know, just, you gotta show us some effort. And if one of our staff has to talk with your siblings and explain to them the gravity of this situation, just because, you know, maybe they're just, oh, my sister or, you know, whatever, my cousin, she's you know, blowing this up.
right,
No, this is a big
This is
deal.
for
It's
real.
gonna cost them money.
right,
So
right.
I yield
But
back.
I'd probably be the one paying it, but, yeah.
Mr.
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 Quinn?
President, look, I think I have no problem with 30 days, and the staff, I think, can help you with something to let them know and say, hey, we got 30 days to look at this again. But
Okay.
I'm gonna make a motion for 30, to defer
I'll
for 30
second
days.
that.
Mr.
Defer him for 30 days.
Mr. Crane.
I was just gonna say, I think the real issue is that she doesn't have possession totally of the property. They haven't done a succession on it.
Right.
And so until that's done, there's really not anything that we can do to either issue a permit for her or to help her to the next step. So I want y'all to, you know, just be
What,
clear that.
I'm-
But, my siblings, we have 3/4 of it they would sign their the rest of it over to me, and I wouldn't have a problem with, doing whatever, even if the other 1/4 would benefit from that, later on, if they're not willing to sell their 1/4 of the share.
Just to
Yes.
address Mr. Crane, I'm kind of hoping that she can take this information to her siblings and show them that this is a serious matter and they need to make a decision. Not necessarily that your staff could solve their issue, but
Yeah,
just
no,
that.
I think if they can solve that, then they can come back, and then there's some options, whether she can repair it
Right.
or demo it or whatever, and then we can issue a permit for that. But until that happens,
Yes.
that kind of
Thank you, thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, so we
my
have a motion
stands,
to
yes.
defer for 30 days, is that correct? And by Mr. Quinn, and a second by Mr. Angelpont. Any further discussion? Any objection? Motion to defer carries. 1F, 2966 Cardinal Lane. Staff requests this item be deferred to the regular meeting on Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. We need a
Yeah,
motion.
Motion to defer for 30 days.
A motion by Mr. Quinn and a second by Mr. Burley. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1G, 335 Dobertine Road, Lake Charles. Anyone here to speak? We do have a card from Miss April Muth? Muth. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Please state your name and address for the records, please.
It's April Muth, 509 Julia Street, Lake Charles, Louisiana, 70605.
Yes, ma'am, you have 3 minutes.
Great. I usually need more, but I think this will be pretty succinct. So I am an heir to the property. I am the executor. My brother lives there and has been living there, and it's been, I understand, an ongoing problem. I did not get this hand-delivered letter until last week. I spoke to my brother to see what his plans were, and they're probably, he really didn't have a plan. So I was hoping on, this is the first time here, so I'm not really sure. I know obviously the property needs some, I didn't know it was to that point yet. I know there's no floorboard, not no floorboards. I know there's damage on the inside, but I didn't know there was structural damage. There's 2 barns in the back as well. Obviously, I don't want it demolished. I just need to know what to do to move forward, and I would like to ask for some more time, just because, like the previous lady, I need some time to do some planning.
Okay, thank you.
Or just any suggestions, but my brother, he would be homeless and just at a loss. I don't know really what to do.
Mr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. President. So is your brother disabled or anything, or can?
Mentally, but I do not know, I don't know if there's a diagnosis. And, I've thought about an OPC for him, but I just don't know. He is mentally not all there.
Okay. So, and we don't need to get into all that. I'm just trying to find out what's going on here, because if he's not physically disabled, well, although if he has issues, but a whole lot could be done right there, and I'm only looking at one picture, but I can tell you that's where the complaints come from, is because that's what people are seeing. If the grass was mowed and all that trash was picked up and all of that, probably wouldn't be getting any phone calls about it, and we wouldn't be here tonight. But yeah, I mean, that's a problem, and I can't imagine him continuing to live there, although I guess he doesn't have another place to go. I'm all for giving you some time, but I mean, something's going to have to happen. If there's other structures in the backyard that need to be torn down, cleaned up, and, I mean, it's going to have to be livable and not condemnable, which, I'll give you 30 days. You can work with the staff and find out what all you need to do to where it's not condemnable anymore. But, I mean, for sure, all of that outside, we wouldn't know what it looked like on the inside because if the grass was cut and the yard was real clean and all that, we never got the phone call.
This is the first time I'm seeing the pictures from the inside. Like, I try to go over and visit him and talk to him about, I don't want him to be homeless, but this is ridiculous.
Right. Well, and I mean, from what you've described, he probably doesn't understand the situation completely. And I mean, I don't want somebody to be homeless either, but something's got to give. But the people that are making the complaints, they have a right as well. And if, it's not within the ordinance, so you've got to get it to where you're in compliance.
Yes, sir.
So hopefully you think 30 days should be enough for you to kind of figure out where you are and what you need to do. Mr. Robinson and his staff will help you, kind of figure that out.
Yes, I don't think my brother understands the severity of the issue, even though I've tried to explain it to him. So I don't know if there is any.
I mean, because it will continue, and I mean, one day the contractor shows up to tear the house down, and if he gives them any issues, like I said, the sheriff's department's gonna show up and they're gonna escort him out of the house and the house gonna be torn down. I mean, that's what would end up happening, and I know you know that. We don't wanna do that. We don't wanna be the bad guy. We try to work with people that come, especially those that come down here and ask us, you know, for help. So we'll give you the 30 days and hopefully y'all can figure out, as long as the jury agrees with me, I'll make a motion to defer for 30 days.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Lewis to defer for 30 days. Any further discussion? Any objection? Motion carries.
Yeah, good.
1H.
He's getting one.
902 Spanish Mission Trail, Lake Charles. Is there anyone here to speak on 902 Spanish Mission Trail?
Move to condemn and remove
Second.
within 30 days.
We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Ms. Eason to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1I, 214 Thicket Road, Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 1I, 214 Thicket Road?
Move to condemn.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Andrapont and a second by Mr. Markentale to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1J, 317 Thicket Road, Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 317 Thicket Road?
Move to condemn.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Andrapont and a second by Mr. Barris to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1K, 110 Juniper Road in Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 110 Juniper Road?
Move to condemn.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Andrapont and a second by Mr. Burley to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1L, 115 Juniper Road in Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 115 Juniper Road?
Move to condemn.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Andrapont and a second by Mr. Markentale to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1M, 426 Juniper Road in Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 426 Juniper Road?
Move to condemn.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Andrapont and a second by Mr. Burley to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1N, 2575 Olins Morgan Road in Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 2575 Olins Morgan Road?
Move to condemn and remove within 30 days.
We have a motion by Mr. Burley.
Second.
And a second by Mr. Andrapont to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 1O, 627 Evans Road in Sulphur. Anyone here to speak on 627 Evans Road?
Move to condemn and remove in 30 days.
We have a motion by Mr. Burley and a second by Mr. Markentale to condemn and remove in 30 days. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. We will move down to, I guess we're at item 5A?
5A.
Oh, man, we covered a few, huh? 5A, approve an application
moved.
for a liquor and beer
Second.
permit.
Second.
Staff recommends approval of one new application. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 5B, adopt an ordinance rescinding ordinance number 7836, which ordered demolition of one manufactured home located at 2529 Carlo Henry Road in Lake Charles.
It looks like the structure has been removed.
Yes, the structure has already been removed.
Move to rescind.
We have a motion by Ms. Eason to rescind and a second by Mr. Landry. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 6A, adopt the resolution approving the multi-jurisdictional agreement as a result of the funds allocated through the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We have a motion by Mr. Guillory and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 7A, adopt a resolution approving an amendment to the contract between the Calcasieu between the police jury and Star Service for the environmental mechanical system professional maintenance services at parish facilities.
Move on.
We have a motion by Mr. Burley and a second by Mr. Quinn. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8A, approve payments
Move to
of
ap-
all current invoices.
Move on 8A.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Markentile and a motion by Mr. Andrepont and a second by Mr. Markentile. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8B, advertise for requests
Move
for
on 8B.
proposals for professional design services for the Interstate 10 Enhancement Master Planning Project, Gateway Calcasieu. We have a motion by Ms. Eason. Second.
Question.
Question.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. Gwynn. Mr. Burley.
What does this entail?
Mr. Burley, this is we're seeking proposals for a plan of a firm to work with the parish to develop a plan that would be phased over time to basically beautify I-10. It's not anything to do with the road. It's corridor enhancement that would include, for example, improvements to the entrance or entrances into the parish, which of course on the west is the state. Everything from removing, undergrowth along the rights of way to interchange improvements. And this would be, in our estimation, up to a 9-month process just to develop the plan. So that's the scope. And then, of course, coming out of that, there'd be recommendations about things that can be done and associated costs. And from there, it would take a lot more than the parish to do it. But y'all have expressed your desire to lead on this, which I think is very supported by the public. And so that's why we're wanting to get some heavy hitters. We think this will draw interest from some larger firms, and we're going to need that because it's a big, I-10 is a lot.
Okay, thank you. I yield.
Mr. Barris.
Mr. Bean, do we anticipate extending an invitation for the municipalities to participate in this party?
Yes.
Down the road?
Absolutely. We do, and probably even during the planning process, there'll be like anything else of this scale, input along the way from citizens, private companies, industry, and other municipalities. So yes, and then later, financially, for example, I'm just giving an example. We would hope that municipalities could help with, say, financing some or most of any interchange improvements in their city, which of course, what is that, 4 along the way? Yes. The short answer is yes.
And so there could also be private partnership
Yeah,
too?
we're hoping to have, as a part of this RFP, and I want to give Alberto and a lot of our staff in finance and engineering a lot of credit for helping. We're hoping this company, whoever is selected, will help with financing sources, including private, including any federal grant resources, foundation, and we think, it's not growing on trees, but we think there's some opportunities there. Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Andrepont.
Just one follow-up point to that. I'm a firm believer of helping those that help themselves, and I think this parish does a good job with that. I would encourage our legislative delegation, Grant, we can dress things up, and I'm all for that, but we have to have good roads. And working with the state and whatnot of what we need on our interstate corridor from the border on where it ends through at the, right past the highway, we need to stress the importance of that because there's still some bumpy stretches along that interstate. And I think this is a good opportunity to capture those and listen, we're doing these things to improve. It's important for them to step up and do their part as well.
Sure. Mr. President, would you mind if just to
Yes.
sort of piggyback on Mr. Andrepont's comment? We'll communicate that. Also, want to commend DOTD, who we have to have as a partner. They, as you know, they are responsible for maintenance of the whole right-of-way.
Right.
They've been very willing to work with us, and they've helped us craft this to where it will meet their needs. Otherwise, we can't do it. But we certainly will communicate back the road part of it. And the bridge, too.
Yeah, that helps too.
While we're at it.
Mr. Landry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, I think we've been talking about this for like 20 years, so this is a good thing that we're finally, looks like this may move forward. You only got one chance to make a first impression, and I can tell you, when you drive over here, it's not that good of a first impression.
No.
You see a dinky little sign, whatever, welcome to Louisiana, that's not much. And when you're getting beat by Mississippi, you're not doing too good. I don't know if you spent much time in Mississippi, but it's not the best place to be, I can promise you. So hopefully, we will, after we do this, we are going to surpass Mississippi.
At least this portion of the state.
Absolutely.
Aim big, I
Can't
say.
control what happens on the other side.
We have a motion on the floor by Ms. Eason and a second by Mr. Quinn. Any further discussion? Any objection? Motion to advertise is approved. 8C, advertise for request for qualifications of engineering and technical services for flood mitigation and structural drainage improvement projects. We have a motion by Mr. Quinn and a second
I second.
by Mr. Guillory. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8D, advertise for request for proposals for professional services for grant application development and grant management assistance.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Guillory and a second by Mr. Landry. Any further discussion?
Can I ask one
Yes,
question?
Mr. Guillory.
What are we going to be doing, Alan, in the terrace, the Greenwich Terrace?
I'm gonna
We're gonna-
actually ask Ms. Cobian to come up. I have some answers, but she'd probably be able to be more specific.
Jennifer Cobian, Grants Director. We are, we've received a conditional award of $11 million to repurpose the Greenwich Terrace buyout area for some stormwater detention. So that's what we're trying to do here, to hire a design firm to go in and study it and see what we could do.
Okay, is this part of Part B plan of buying more houses too?
No, this is separate, so we're gonna be running parallel. So the state's gonna still be implementing their buyout program in that sort of priority 2 area, and we'll be focusing on repurposing priority 1.
Thank you, ma'am. I yield back, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion by Mr. Guillory and a second by Mr. Hayes. Any other discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8E, advertise for requests for qualifications of engineering and technical services for the Greenwich Terrace Stormwater Management Project. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Guillory. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8F, advertise for bids for the Calcasieu Point Hurricane Repairs Project. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8G,
Move
advertise
on
for
8G.
bids for
Second.
the River Bluff Park Pavilion and Walking Path. We have a motion by Mr. Quinn and a second by Mr. Burley. Sound like that's a project on your list.
Absolutely, Mr. President.
Any further discussion? Any objections? Motion carries. 8H, advertise for
Second.
bids, LA 392 Roundabout Waterline Relocation Project. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Hayes. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8I,
Move on to
advertise for bids for East Calcasieu Parish Consolidated Waterworks Project Phase 2 Goche Road. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8J,
Move on 8J.
adopt a resolution on proposals for the official journal. We have a motion by Mr. Burley
Second.
And a second by Mr. Landry. Any discussion? Staff recommends the proposal of the American Press in the amount of $6 per inch per insertion date be accepted for a one-year period beginning July 1, 2021. So we have a motion by Mr. Burley and a second by Mr. Landry. Any other discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8K, action on bids for water testing chemicals.
So moved.
Staff recommends the
Second.
bids of Hawkins, Inc., Musso and Bellarmine, and United Mineral and Chemical be accepted. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Ms. Eason. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8L, action
Move
on
on
bids
8L.
for
Second.
one 2029 or newer extended body super high roof cargo van. Staff recommends the bid of Mike Willis Ford LLC in the amount of $54,700 be accepted. Mr. Barris.
Please let the record reflect my recusal on this item.
Let the record reflect Mr. Barris is recusing himself on this item. Can we get a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a
Second.
second by Ms. Eason. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8M, adopt a resolution approving an agreement for the purchase of Microsoft product licenses utilizing state contract purchasing procedures.
Move on, 8M.
We have a motion by Mr. Burley and a second by Mr. Hayes. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8N, adopt a resolution
moved.
accepting the downtown elevator repair and replacement project as substantially complete. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 8O, adopt a resolution
8O.
accepting Pack House Road multi-bridge replacement project as substantially complete. We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Lewis. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Board appointments. 9A, Center
Third 30
and
days.
Playground District Number 1 of
Second.
Ward 6. Let's see, with staff, there's a deferment, staff recommends defer for 30 days, right? So who made the motion?
Got a motion by Mr.
Markendale.
Markendale.
Motion by Mr. Markendale and a second by Mr. Barris to defer for 30 days. 9B, Ward 4 Fire Protection
Move to
District
appoint
Number
Mr.
3.
Wayne Smith.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Burley to appoint Mr. Wayne Smith and a second by Mr. Barris. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. 9C, Workforce Development Board. We need a motion to take action as reflected on the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Landry and a second by Mr. Markendale. Any discussion? Any objection? Motion carries. Item 10 is a board advised item. And item 11 is an advised item.
Move that we go into executive session.
We have a motion to go into executive
Second.
session.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned. Meeting adjourned.